Let's set up our project. To follow along for this tutorial series, you can either create a new project or you can open an existing project. In my case, I'm going to create a brand new project. I'm going to switch over to New Projects, choose Blueprint, and I'm going to stick with a blank game template. But if you're creating your own project, you can choose any of these game templates. But to keep the folder structure simpler and less cluttered, I'm going to choose blank. Next, I'm going to choose Desktop and Console, Maximum Quality, and I'm going to enable and use starter content. For name of the project, I'm going to name this WOLD Decals. And let's go ahead and hit Create Project. With the project open, first I'm going to go ahead and disable real-time to speed up the viewport, and go to Edit to Preferences, and I'm going to disable autosave. This is a personal preference that I always do for new projects, but you can go ahead and keep this on. I like to manually save my maps and my content. Next, let's create two folders inside the content folder. I'm actually going to open a new content browser window so we can see better. I'm going to select content, and inside the content folder, I'm going to create new folder and name this WOLD Decals. Inside this folder, I'm going to create two additional folders and name the first one Textures and name the second one Materials. I am also going to bring in a set of custom static meshes from the Corridor project. This is completely not necessary for you to follow the series. I'm only doing this so I have static mesh walls that I can use to apply decals onto. So I'm going to select Textures, Static Meshes, and Materials, and just copy and paste them inside this content folder into the WOLD Decals project. And inside the static meshes, I'm going to use one of the wall static meshes to use it inside the level. Again, this is completely not necessary for you. If you don't have a project that you're going to be using decals in and you created your own project, you would just simply use one of the starter content architecture folder and drag one of these walls right into the level to apply your decals onto to test. So let's go ahead and set up our first initial level, and this is the level that we're going to use to test decals in. I'm going to go to File, New Level. I'm going to use the default, which will give me all the necessary actors and a lighting setup, so I don't have to create all of these myself. I'm going to select this ground plane and I'm going to make it larger and just increase it maybe by 4 times. Then I'm going to go into the static mesh folder that I have and just grab one of these walls and just drag it into the level. Now if you don't have your own custom assets, use the starter content folder, go into architecture, and just drag one of these walls right in here. And use this wall. And we'll simply apply decals onto this wall to test and finalize those decals. So we're setting up a scene with some of the available static meshes just to test our decals. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this starter content wall and take this static mesh and just duplicate it 4 more times. Now let's go ahead and save this initial level. File, Save As. Inside the content folder, I'm going to create a new folder and name it My Maps. And I'm going to name this map Decal Test Map 01 and hit save. And we are now set to create our first decal, which is going to be the most simplest and basic decal that you can create, and we'll do that in the next video.